and welcome to the Springfield Training Podcast. I'm your host, Dom Harding, and our aim with this podcast is to bring you interviews and insights into work-based learning, the skills that you can gain from doing an apprenticeship or just your general job, what apprenticeships are and how they can be good for the individual and a business, and we're also going to talk about career development. We've got another guest from Springfield Training on for you this week. I'd like to introduce you to Stacey, who's the Chief Operations Officer here at Springfield Training, and I promise she's not as scary as she sounds. How are you, Stacey?
I'm good, thanks, Tom. A little bit tired for a Thursday, but no, I'm good. How are you?
Yeah, I'm the same. I've been constantly yawning for about an hour now.
Oh God, it's awful, isn't it, when you get to the end of the week and you can't keep stop yourself yawning.
Yeah.
But okay.
Well, I suppose we'll just get it started.
Yep.
What was your first job when you first started out?
Oh God. Right. Okay. So it's a long time ago since I had a first job. I was 15, and my mum decided that she wasn't going to give me any pocket money anymore.
Yeah.
So I worked at a pizza shop in a local village where I grew up, and I worked Thursday night, Friday night, Saturday night, and Sunday night, and I did front of house, and I did some pizzas as well. I used to flip the grill, so I used to do burgers and stuff like that. And that was before doner kebabs ever came out on the scene. So we didn't do doner kebabs, we just did burgers and pizzas. And I worked for a man called Farzin, and he was a Turkish man, and he had a really strong accent, but his English was really good. He used to show me how to make pizza from scratch. So he used to come in on a morning and make all the pizza dough, and then when you used to get to on a night time when we were doing the pizzas, you used to just go get the pizza dough from downstairs in the big fridge, and they were like balls of just dough, and he was showing me how to make them round. So you like push it and stretch it so it goes round, and then he showed me how to flip it up in the air. I did ruin a couple of pizza bases, but there's a certain way that you've got to get the utensil that puts them in the oven without ruining the pizza, because it's quite thin, and you have to make them quite thin and crispy. I like doing it deep pans because they're just in a pan and you couldn't mess with those up. But he used to complain because when I was doing the toppings, I won't tell you what he said, but he'd go, "Oh my God, Stacey, what are you doing? Are you trying to put me out of business?" But we had such a laugh. I loved that job, and I continued working there right up until I was about 17, because when I left school I went on to what's now known as an apprenticeship, but it was back then it was called a youth training scheme, and it was traditionally for those people who didn't do very well at GCSEs. Now I did get my GCSEs, I got all of them, but I didn't want to go into college anymore. I didn't want the hassle of exams and going to, I wanted to earn my own money and start working. So it was pretty much the same as what an apprenticeship is now. I spent a week in a college when my employer would let me go in because of business and stuff like that. But I did an NVQ, so basically what the apprenticeships used to be like before 2017, and I did a level 2 and a level 3. But the company that I worked for was an independent travel firm, and they used to do bus tours up to Scotland to their hotel up in the Cairngorm Mountains. And the company I was employed as an assistant accountant or something like that, and the bloke who hired me was called Bob, and he had the biggest moustache you've ever seen. But my desk was a wallpaper table. Didn't have a computer on it because there were very few computers around then. And when we did the books, we had like these big red ledger books. We had to actually put every single incoming and outgoing onto the bank into these big red ledger books. And then once the bank statement had come in, you'd have to reconcile the ledger books. And then I used to have this big calculator. It was like a till, and it had like a till roll on it. And I used to be able to do the numbers without looking at it, and the till roll would be like rolling off the table, and then you'd have to go back and double check it. But then I did a lot in that company because I also worked in the sales office, so I did a lot of the bookings for the holidays, and it was so, when you think back now to how things are done online and you book things online, people used to phone up and book holidays, and you used to have to handwrite it into you were allowed so many people on the bus and where it were picking up, and then you had to make sure that you had enough bookings to be able for the tour to go ahead, and then people paid cash. So they'd just send cash through the post. So many a times I've gone to the bank, I've been sent to the bank by the sales manager, and she sent me with thousands and thousands of pounds worth of notes.
Yeah.
So it was a good job.
A lot of people find that risky nowadays, sending money through the post.
Well, yeah, you just didn't think, it was never a problem back then, and people used to send cheques, and you don't actually see cheques anymore.
No, not really.
It's all done online. I mean, last time I don't even think I've got a chequebook. So, but yeah, I used to think, I think that job made me realise that if I ever was in a position where I was training somebody, that was how I wouldn't treat people.
Yeah.
So although I gained a lot of experience, I was like the office junior, so I'd have to go to obviously the bank, the post office, which was like miles away, and then if they run out of stamps, I'd have to go down to the post office, because couldn't get stamps from Tesco's like you can now, buy them in a book. You used to have to go buy them from the post office, which was miles away, and then walk back with the stamps. Then you used to have to go walk back to the post office to take the post, and then I remember having to go get people's lunches. I remember having to go get, I remember one time I had to go get a voucher for somebody who, she wanted a beauty voucher, so I had to go find a beauty shop and buy a beauty voucher for her. And then if they were hungry, in the afternoon they'd send me down to what's now Tesco's to go get muffins for everybody. So I didn't actually do that much work, I just did a lot of running about. And I always thought that, like I say, if I ever got to that position, I'd never ask somebody to do something that I wasn't willing to do myself. So I'd always do it myself first. And again, I'm probably making myself sound really old, but I earned £27.50 a week for that.
Wow.
And I got my bus fare as well. But because of where I lived, the nearest bus stop was 3 miles away. So my mum either gave me a lift if she wasn't working, but if my mum was working and I couldn't afford a taxi, I'd have to walk to the bus stop to get to the bus to get to work for 9 o'clock.
Wow.
Yeah. No.
£27.50 a week.
Yeah, it don't even buy you a meal, that.
No.
I think McDonald's is more than we take away on the weekends more than that.
Yeah, exactly. Wow.
I know, but it was good because I also earned money at the pizza shop, obviously, and then on a Saturday I got a job at a bread shop, and that sounds really weird, but it was like they sold fresh bread and they sold cakes. But because it was a Saturday and they were closed on the Sunday, I got all the really nice cakes that were going to go off. So it suited me down to the ground, because I just ate my weight in like freshly sliced ham. And I remember them telling me how to slice the ham, and people used to come in, because it was a village that I worked where the shop was. They used to be really fussy about how they liked the ham sliced. So some people would like it like really thick, and then other people would like it really thin. And we were using one of those big slicing machines. I was absolutely petrified of like chopping my fingers off. It was awful.
I bet. So did you do all that at once?
Yeah.
The pizza shop.
Yeah.
Working at the. What did you say? Yeah.
The bakery. Yeah.
All at once.
All at once. So I did that on a Saturday, and Noel's there. Look now.
Come in. No, you won't.
No, you won't. So I did all that, but then it got too much, so I gave up the pizza shop, because it was obviously on a Friday and a Saturday night. It could be like 2 o'clock in the morning before I got home, although I wasn't, but then I'd have to get up for work at the bread shop on a Saturday morning at 8 o'clock, and then work till like 2 o'clock on an afternoon till it closed. I'd have to clean it all down, so I'd only actually I won't get any time off, because then I'd have to work on a Saturday night and then work on a Sunday night as well. So, but it helped me make enough money to be able to live off. So I became quite independent quite quickly. So I didn't have to ask my mum and dad for that much money. I mean, my mum, bless her, You still used to buy me like the toiletries and stuff like that,
Mm-hmm.
because you don't realise until you're having to buy it yourself just how much things cost.
No, that's me at the minute.
All right, okay.
Got to buy all my own stuff.
Yeah, well, you'll get a shock. You'll get a shock when you do. But yeah, so it was. I'm not frightened of hard work, but my mum always taught me, and my dad, to be fair, they always said that if you want something, you've got to go get it. So if I wanted to earn more money, I had to go out and earn more money, and I knew that I wasn't going to get the wage that I wanted right at the beginning,
Mm-hmm.
and the only way I could get to that point was by going down the apprenticeship route and working my way up.
Yeah. Well, everyone's got to earn the money they want, don't they?
Yeah.
You've got to start from the bottom and work your way up.
Yeah.
So, still speaking about work, how did the Springfield job come about?
Right. Yeah, I think I had a bit of a midlife crisis with this one. Not that because I've joined Springfield, because I love my job, but my previous job, I've been there for 14 years. So I was working at a college near to where I live. So it was really convenient. It was like literally 5 minutes away from where I lived. So I could set off at like 8:25 and still get to work on time.
Yeah.
I didn't, obviously. I was always there about 7:45. And I've been there for 14 years. I started there as an administrator. So I was my job title was MVQ Quality Audit Administrator.
Wow.
Yeah, so it was a bit of a mouthful, but basically it was checking that everything was right. So it's not different really to what I'm doing now. And then from there I went from administrator up to, I think it was coordinator then it was like contracts manager, and then it was business services manager, and then it was assistant director of business services, and then director of business services.
Yep.
I can't actually remember what my official title was, but it was something like that. And it was basically a director of all the adult learning, so all the adult education budget, all the apprenticeships, all the full cost stuff, everything that didn't involve 16 to 18 core provision, I controlled basically. And I was coming up to my 21st birthday. No, I was coming up to a big birthday, and decided that if I didn't leave, I thought I'd be too old to leave, because you get to a certain point and you think, I've not got much time. This sounds really depressing, and it wasn't a depressing thing that why I did it, but if I don't leave, I'm going to get too old to leave, because you do get set in your ways as you get older. And it was only 2 years ago, by the way, I'm not 50. And I thought, if I don't leave now, I'm never going to leave. So I thought, right, I'm just going to leave. I'm just going to put my notice in. I had to give 3 months notice. I thought I can find a job in 3 months. So I went off. I remember going home and I told my mum first, just to make sure that she was alright about it. And I said, I'm going to leave. And she's like, oh, where are you going to? I went, I don't know yet, but I know that if I don't hand my notice in, because I'm too comfortable, I won't actively look for another job.
Yeah.
But if I've not got a job to go to, I've got a mortgage to pay, I've got a son that I need to keep on his, the manner he's become accustomed to, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
So I thought, if I don't leave now, I'll never leave, and I've got to be without a job to give me the push that I need to get a job that I wanted. And I was just looking on Indeed, and this one, and it was literally one of my first searches that I did. I was on holiday, and I put Apprenticeship Manager in, or Operations Manager, or something like that, and the Springfield job came up, and yeah, I thought, oh, that looked interesting. It's exactly what I did at college, but for a smaller company. So I sent my CV in, and Noel contacted me the same day and invited me in for an interview, and that's nearly 2 years ago. I've never looked back since. So yeah, it was a bit of a whim, but it's something that's paid off, and I don't think I'd do it again. No. Because I'm a self-confessed control freak, and I like to be in.
You like to know what's happening.
Oh God, yeah, absolutely. I like to have control of everything. And my friends thought it was absolutely crazy, but it was probably the best thing I ever did.
Yeah. Well, the same sort of thing happened to me when I didn't leave my old job.
Yeah.
They told me they were going under.
Yeah.
So I was made redundant, and then I went about 2 or 3 months without a job, and Noel called me out of the blue.
Yeah.
Because obviously I was an apprentice with Springfield.
Yeah.
And just told me to come in and have a chat, and then
I remember
literally the Monday I started. Yeah. It was a Friday.
Yeah, I remember that. I remember you coming in. You weren't all what I expected.
No.
I don't know what I expected, but you were so tall. I was like, oh my god, he's so tall. And I'm quite tall, but you're like so tall.
Yeah.
But yeah, I remember that, and it was like, okay, starting on Monday, so what are we going to get him to do with it? It's like, oh, don't worry, we'll sort it. Do you know what though? Coming from a college into a small company, that's the stuff I've struggled with the most, because in a college, and I always thought that the college I worked for was really with it and really quite forward in their thinking, but you had to have a process for everything, and there's no way that as a college we could have done that. It's like, oh no, you've got to do this, you've got to do that, you've got to put a requisition in, you've got to put a staff requisite, it's got to be approved by the principal, it's got to be approved by the deputy principal, it's got to go to HR, they've got to do this, that and the other, so it could be months before you get a member of staff. And it was such a shock, and again, for somebody who likes being in control of everything, for somebody starting first, for somebody coming in and starting without knowing what they're going to be doing, just freaked me out as well. So I was like completely out of my comfort zone.
I don't think I started much after you did either.
No, I started in the June and you started in the August. So we're all pretty much, me, you and Rachel, we're all pretty much one after another, aren't we? Yeah.
So speaking about Springfield, what actually motivates you to get up and come into work every day?
Right, okay. I am an annoying person because I'm motivated all the time. I've got loads of energy, so I rarely need my alarm clock to get me up. Even if I'm getting up at 4:30, I seem to just know that I've got to get up. And I'm normally awake already thinking about what I'm going to achieve today and thinking about ideas for work. When I'm, if I'm cleaning my teeth, I'll think of something and I'll think, oh, I've got to write that down because obviously I'll forget. But I am really motivated. I'm really keen on getting things done.
Yeah. What do most people understand about your job?
Right. This is there's a really funny story around this, because I think it's really hard when you work in education. If you don't work in education, it's really hard to try and explain what you do. So you say, oh, I work for a work-based learning provider. And it's like, oh, you're a teacher? No. What do you do then? And you try and think, how can I describe to somebody who doesn't know anything about skills funding, education and skills funding agency, who doesn't know anything about Ofsted, who doesn't know anything about what I actually do? And none of my friends actually know what I do. So have you ever seen the Friends? Because you might be a bit old for you.
No, I've watched it all.
You've watched all of Friends, right? So
we were actually talking about Friends out there today, actually.
Oh yeah.
And quite a lot of them haven't seen it, and I'm like, how?
No way! It's like the best. I've watched it all over again over lockdown.
Yeah.
Oh, and it's still it never gets old. There are still places where I laugh out loud. But there's an episode in Friends where the gang are trying to figure out what Chandler does for a living, and I think it's some sort of competition about the apartment or something like that, and they actually don't know what he does. So, and I think I'm a bit of a Chandler. I went away with my friend and her friends. We went to Iceland for her 40th birthday, and I didn't actually know her friends, so I was like her friend from childhood, and then all her friends were friends from adulthood, and I was like the odd one out, if you like. And we're all getting to know each other on the plane and everything, and somebody said, oh, what do you do for a living, Stacey? And Claire said, oh, don't bother asking what Stacey does. Stacey's Chandler. And I just went, oh, I am a bit like Chandler really, aren't I? And it's just stuck with me ever since, because people don't know what I do. And it's really hard to describe. So when I do say to people, I'll just say, oh, I work for a private training provider delivering apprenticeships. It normally just satisfies them, and they just go, all right, okay. Unless they ask me if I'm a teacher, and then no. There are times when I'm with my friend, one of my closest friends, and we're jogging or we're chatting about work or whatever, and she always listens to me, because when we jog we tend to like all the way through, but she'll just say to me, I have no idea what you're talking about, but I'll just listen and nod when you need me to nod, and I'll tell you when you're being silly. And that's what she does. It's
the same with me. So I've got in a few taxis on the way to work, and I'm like, oh, what do you do? And I'm like, work for an apprenticeship provider doing marketing, and they're like, how do you market that? And I'm like, I don't really know, to be honest.
Yeah, how do you market it? It just happens, doesn't it?
It's just loads like this. This is basically marketing it.
Yeah.
This podcast.
Yeah. And I think people like to know what goes on behind it, And I think the more we do the podcast, people will get to understand how Springfield tick, because we are a bit of a mad bunch.
Yeah.
You've got to be. And I think once you've stuck with education for more than 2 years, you're in it.
Mm-hmm.
You can't get out of it. There's no getting out of it.
No.
You either love it or you hate it. And sometimes when you hate it, you actually secretly love it.
Yeah.
Because it's so frustrating. But I went to college for 2 years. I worked at a warehouse before going to college, and I thought to myself, oh, okay, I'll go for that. And then I thought, oh, I'll stay for 2 years, and here I am, nearly 16 years later. Well, that makes me feel really old.
Well, I'm close to 2 years, so it's time to get out.
Yeah, don't go anywhere. You're not going anywhere yet.
So you said when you were younger you did an apprenticeship?
Yeah.
Are you doing one now?
I am. Not very well at the moment. But I'm doing an apprenticeship in operational departmental management. Although I've got lots of experience being a manager, I don't have the qualification to back it up. But having said that, there's so much I've learned.
Yeah.
So I like to read books, like management books and things like that. Oh my God, my eyes have just been opened up, and I look at things and I think, oh yeah, I'll try that. Again, like I say about being motivated, I'm always looking for something better to make something easier for somebody, or a different way of approaching something to try and get everybody's buy-in. And yeah, I love that sort of stuff. So I am learning a lot.
Yeah. I think even I've learnt loads doing my apprenticeship, because you sort of doing your job, and then the work, you go see your tutor about your work, and then it all ties together and you don't realise that it's gonna.
Yeah.
Yeah, everything you learn, you do use.
Yeah, you do. And then the fact that you've got to then present it to an endpoint assessor who doesn't know you. I was talking to somebody this morning, and she was talking about how we were doing some mock endpoints for some learners, and it's through a subcontract that we've got. But she said that the learners were actually really scared, because although we have an active part in the apprenticeship that they deliver for us, the person that did the endpoint assessment, the mock endpoint assessment, they'd not been involved. So to them it was really scary, this strange person coming onto a Zoom call or a Teams call and asking them questions about their job. But Andy, he really does make it really simple for the learners, because he says to the learners as he's preparing them for their endpoint, nobody knows your job like you, so just speak about your job. And if you don't understand a question, just say, I'm sorry, I don't understand that. Yeah. Like you would do if we were just chatting, you'd say, I don't understand what you're on about. Yeah. But you wouldn't obviously say that to an endpoint assessment, because you'd be freaking it. But and I think my endpoint assessment, I've got to do a presentation, and I don't like doing presentations.
No, I'm going to say no one does. No one wants to do a presentation.
No, it's just really scary. I don't know what to do with my hands and that.
It's because everyone's looking at you. You're telling them something. Yeah. And even if you you're not going to get something wrong because you've got it all written down. Yeah. But it's just the fact of eyes on you all the time.
Yeah. But you've got, and also you tend to talk really fast as well when you're nervous. Oh yeah. And I'm quite a fast talker anyway, so I'll babble on at 100 miles an hour. But when I'm doing a presentation, especially if it's to people, and I think I'm more nervous to people that I know than people I don't know, because it's just scary, because you think these people know me and they're looking at me. It's really scary. I hope they can't see my knees shaking. I'm giving all my secrets away now.
I hope they can't hear us now.
Yeah, put that out.
If you could give advice to your younger self,
yes,
when you were working in that pizza shop and bread shop, what would it be?
I think it's don't worry, things will just work out for you with a bit of hard work. I think people were so adamant that you needed to know what you wanted to do. I had no idea what I wanted to do, and it's kind of just evolved naturally. I've had all sorts of jobs until I've got to this place. I've worked in a warehouse, I've worked in well, not in a warehouse, I did stock control for a warehouse, but I've worked on the phones, I've done sales, I've worked in insurance, but if you think about all the different bits that I've worked in, it's kind of evolved into like a quality auditing side of work, which is basically what I do now. So I check the quality, I make sure everything's right, everything's as it should be. And that's what I've more or less done my whole life. So without actually thinking about it, I've evolved into a career, and it just works itself out. I actually don't know what I want to be when I grow up, because I'm never growing up. And I think one other thing that I would probably say to myself, because I know as you get older you get more confident, and people were always saying that to me when I was younger, and you don't believe it's true until you actually get to that age where you think, yeah, I am confident, I'm comfortable in my own skin. Because I think as you're younger you're always worried what people think of you, and in today's day and age with social media, and you're never out of the spotlight, if you like, because people are always on Instagram with their I can't cope with the filters and stuff like that, but and I think myself, I was always frightened to show people what I could do, so I never had enough confidence in my own abilities to say, oh, I could do that job. So I think have confidence in your own abilities, and don't be so shy, because I was really shy, really shy when I was 15. The pizza shop really helped me with dealing with people that I didn't know, because like, people came in drunk, you know, and we've had some people you know, climbing over the counter and stuff like that drunk. And then don't worry what people think, because other people's opinion of you doesn't matter. Not everybody's going to like you, and as long as you're true to yourself, and you know, you're right by yourself and you're right by other people, it's hard. That's a hard one, to think what other people will think, but you don't need to know what other people think of you, and you can only assume what somebody thinks of you unless they actually tell you. So those are my thoughts to my 16-year-old self.
I think everyone starts off a bit shy. When I was in primary school I was quite shy, then I went to high school and I came out of my shell a lot. But then as soon as I hit sixth form, and I just went downhill again, and I was so shy. And you'll have noticed, like, when I came here I was quite shy.
You're not now so much. You are better. You do talk more, and you've got a very dry sense of humour, so the one-liners that you come out with, when you think, some people think you're not listening, and then you just come out with a one-liner. I really do like that.
That's my humour, just dry.
It's good. It's funny, and especially when it's to know.
Although I am scared when I do it.
I know. You start getting really sweaty.
Start sweating.
Oh dear.
So did you listen to the last podcast?
I did.
Me and Rachel were speaking about the marathon that we've all signed up for. You're a runner by nature, really. So how did you get into running in the first place?
Well, I did hear you and Rachel talking about the marathon, because I did get told that. I know you told me off for not listening to the last podcast, but I was going to the supermarket, and I was sat in the car in Tesco's car park, listening to absolutely howling with laughing at you two, because it was just so funny. But yes, I am a runner by nature, and I've been running since high school, really. I did run at primary school, but nothing competitive. You know, there were always a group of us that were quite fast, and we enjoyed games days, you know, when you did that. But I remember when I first thought, oh, I could do this. Yeah, I'm quite good at this, because it was an athletics day at school, and in my high school, I remember when you were doing athletics, we used to have to wear, you know, like in games, the girls wear the skirts. Oh no, we had to wear knicker shorts, and they are exactly what they sound like. They are like a big pair of granny knickers, and they were like up to your waist, and you tucked your t-shirt and you had to run in them. So you imagine running, your knickers would be going up your backside, and you have to try and keep them out your bum, so your bum cheeks weren't hanging out, and that was in front of everybody. So 11-year-old me, they wouldn't allow it now, I don't think.
No, I don't think it would.
But anyway, so these were like big blue knicker shorts that we were running in. But you know, in high school, where you get that one person who's really good at everything, really annoying person. Well, I had one. I'm not going to mention her name, because she might for some reason listen to this. But she was really smart. She had long blonde hair. She was absolutely stunning. She had legs up to her armpits, so was just brilliant at everything. And we were doing different races, and she won me at everything, and just by a little bit, but she won every race. And I was like, oh god. And I think that's when I realised I was quite competitive as well.
Yeah.
But she did we did 100 metres, 200 metres, 400 metres, and she got me. So next thing, my PE teacher said, Miss Cook, I think she was called, she said, right, 800 metres now, and I thought, right, she's not going to beat me now. There's no way she's going to beat me. And she was a really nice girl, don't get me wrong. I'm making her sound really awful, but she wasn't. And I won. And I won by literally, I don't know whether it's a tenth of a second or a hundredth of a second or whatever it was, but by a little bit. And even we both didn't know who won. And she was gutted. And I thought, yes, I've done it. And that was my race then. That was my race, 800 metres, and I used to do it, and it's just 2 laps round the track. Yeah. But I was 800 metre champion for 5 years running, so nobody could beat me on an 800 metres, and I became that really annoying one that people wanted to beat, but nobody could beat me. I don't know why I became so good at it, because I'd not come from a family of runners. My mum and dad weren't particularly into the fitness, like people are now. But I also got into cross country. And actually, I thought to myself, if I do all these different events, I get to go out of school. So you get afternoons out of school, and you don't have to sit in lessons, so you get to go and you do one race and you sit there all afternoon. As long as it's not raining, you're not bothered. You're not bothered. But I did cross country, and I was cross country champion for 5 years, and I loved cross country. Everybody else, we used to have to run again in the winter, because obviously athletics is summer and cross country is the winter. Yeah. But we used to have to run in those knicker shorts in dead of winter. In hockey boots. So hockey boots are like, like Converse boots with studs underneath. Oh, right. We used to have to run in them. They won't do it now, you won't be able to run in them now. But we used to have to run in them, and I remember the route that we used to do. We used to have to go down like a ditch and then up again. And and all the other girls used to just try and jump over it. Oh no, I went straight through it. I was absolutely caked in mud. I was the only one that actually got a proper shower because I was caked in mud. Yeah. But and then in cross country, I did really well at that. So I represented Scunthorpe at Beverley Racecourse when I was 14, and I came like 26 out of 100 and something, which was brilliant. And I stopped then. I just stopped running. Yeah. I don't know whether it was the cold or what, but I just stopped running, and then started again back in my 20s, and I've never stopped. Apart from when I broke my foot.
Can't run without a foot.
No, you can't run without a foot, and I broke my foot running. Oh. And carried on again. I remember when it snapped, there was a car turning right, but it didn't indicate, and I went to go cross over the road, and I stopped, and I felt my foot snap. But I thought, oh, that hurts, and carried on running.
I can imagine the noise.
Yeah, it was like a wishbone. It was like that. Anyway, so I had about 8 weeks off running, and I started again. And I ran my first marathon in 2014, my second one in 2017, and then we got the London Virtual in October.
Yeah, a few of us have signed up for it, haven't we?
It'd be interesting to see your training plans. I keep meaning to bring those magazines in as well for you.
Yeah, but I need to start.
You do need to start. June, you need to start.
June is what I'm aiming for. Yeah. I'm eating loads of rubbish, and then I'm going to start eating healthier in June.
Yeah.
Training.
You do have to fuel your body as well, so that's one thing that I learned when I was running my first marathon, and naturally I just stopped. I know that I drink anyway, but I just stopped drinking alcohol because there's no nutritional value in alcohol whatsoever. No. And you could use that nutrition in another thing, so you do think about what you eat more.
Well, I've got a salad today, so...
I've just had a chocolate biscuit, so don't take my word for it.
Speaking about everyone has that person in school they want to be, I actually did as well. I did like athletics tournaments when I was in school, in high school, but I'm not going to say his name either because I still play football with him on a weekend.
So right, okay.
He doesn't football team. Yeah, he doesn't know that I had like this secret thing against him. I wanted to beat him, but he was really fast. Yeah. A sprinter more than a
endurance.
Yeah. And I don't think I ever beat him. I think I'd like to try now because I am quite quick.
Yeah, well, you've got long legs.
Yeah.
You're really tall.
But he's quite small.
Do you know what? They're the worst. Small ones. They are the worst for getting for being fast.
What annoys me is he's better at football than me as well.
Oh
So.
no! Oh no! That's not good. You're just adding to the torture.
I know. He's going to know who it is now.
Yeah,
if he listens.
probably.
How do you think we'll all do? Do you think we'll all complete it, or?
Yeah, well, I'm hoping you will, because I'm a great believer in what the mind believes, the body achieves, and it's true, and it's quite philosophical. Is that the word? Philosophical.
That's the word.
Yeah. So I remember when I did my first half marathon, it was Leeds half, which is a really quite tough half in 2014. I'd already entered for the marathon, so I knew I was already doing the marathon in October.
Yeah.
And I thought, right, okay, because I was a runner anyway, I just kept on going.
Yeah.
And I thought, right, I'll do a half marathon. And I remember when I came across the finish line, I thought, oh, bugger, I've got to do that distance again. So you do half and then you've got to do that again. And I thought, there's no way I am going to be able to run for 4 hours. Not a chance. Anyway, so it was, well, I just absolutely pooed my pants, because you just think, I'm just going to make a fool of myself. I'm going to be last. I'm going to be the last one. It's going to take me hours. But everybody else is feeling exactly the same way. But I just followed a plan, and this is the plan that I'm going to bring in for you guys, because it's not about how far you go. It's about time on feet.
Yeah.
So you've got to prepare your body for the amount of time on feet. So anything that I'm training for, my coach doesn't give me a distance that I've got to do. He gives me the amount of time that I've got to be on my feet, or the amount of time that I've got to be out on my bike. So it's endurance that you're building up. And I over that 16 weeks, my body achieved far more than what I ever thought it would. It wasn't long before a 10-mile run was a short run, and it was just a training run. It's like, oh, just 10 miles. And you think to yourself, God, that's 16 kilometres. How am I going to run 16 kilometres? But then when you think about it, you can run 10 kilometres. If you can run 10 kilometres, try doing that 4.2 times.
Yeah.
It's difficult, but in my training, I didn't actually get to 26 miles, so I didn't actually know whether I could do it or not.
Yeah.
My longest run was 18 miles, but the rest on the marathon, the rest is just adrenaline and just sheer determination. It's your mind that you've got to convince that you can do it, not your legs.
Yeah.
Your legs will get you wherever you need to go. It's your mind. And people have said that if you you'll hit a wall, which you do. If you don't hit a wall, then you're just like a machine.
Yeah.
But you hit a wall, and I hit a wall at 22 miles on my first marathon, and I remember thinking, I was passing people. It was really quiet. The roads were really quiet. And I wasn't talking to anybody, so there was nothing distracting me. And I'd just seen my family at 18 miles, so I'd got over all that.
Yeah.
And then I remember passing people as they were walking, and I thought, if I walk, there is no way I'm going to stop. And I think I was shuffling. I think I was like proper shuffling. I was like proper hurting, and I did that for 2 miles. I got to 24 miles, and I just went, it's like I climbed over the wall, and I thought, well, I've done it now.
Yeah.
I've got another 2 miles to go. And I just picked it up and picked up the speed, and I got over it. But it's your mind that you've got to convince, not your body, because your body, that's what the 16 weeks is for.
Yeah.
The actual day is your mind that you've got to, because you're on your own basically, and especially with it being virtual. I've asked some of my friends to join me for 10k runs in the 42 kilometres that I've got to do. So each friend is going to join me at a 10 kilometre point, so they can keep me going. So that's how I'm going to keep myself.
Yeah, I think Rachel's doing it as well.
Yeah.
So we spoke about maybe doing it together.
Yeah.
Because we've got a 24-hour period, so we'd have to do it all at once.
No.
But I want to try do it all at once.
Yeah.
Just so I can get it out of the way, because I don't think I could even run 10 kilometres now. So.
Yeah, but you can. That's the thing. Anybody can do it. One of the magazine that I've got, and the first thing it's training for a marathon, so it's everything you need to know about a marathon. And it said anybody can do 26 miles. It's just how fast you want to do it in.
Yeah.
And that's the key. So you've just got to get it into your head how fast you want to do it in.
Yeah. I'm not really bothered about the time. I just want to do it.
I just want to beat me last time.
Yeah.
I just want to beat me last time. But I don't know if I will or not, because I've got a European qualifier the week after. So I've got to pick one or the other.
Yeah. Is Going back to speaking about work, do you have a career goal?
Yeah, to be retired at 55. No, I think, as I said before, I never really knew what I wanted to do when I grew up, and I think it's not a bad thing, isn't that? Because you were quite open then to change, and a change in job, a change in career, and I've just gone and done work and gone and given 100% in whatever I do. So I think I wanted to when I went from something silly like I wanted to be what did I want to be? It's like I want to be a school teacher. No. I want to be a nurse. No, that's not going to happen. But I think going back to what you said about what would you tell your 16-year-old self, I think I'd tell her not to be ashamed of ambition. Because when I was 16 and I was in my first apprenticeship, the sales administrator made me seem like I was crazy to want a career as a girl. And she said I was power hungry, but and I should basically just do what I was told. But I don't know if my life would have turned out any differently. But I think my career goal is to go as far as I can, and I think with Springfield it's to achieve as much as I can for the company and to make sure that we are as good as what we can be to do what basically the vision that Noel sold me when it was to be a game changer in the market, and I think that is achievable. It's just going to take some hard work.
I think we're on the right track to do that. Definitely. So this last question is one that I always ask. What profession other than your own would you like to attempt?
I touched on that, but like I say, I didn't have any career in mind when I left school. So I started out wanting to be a nurse, and then I realised that I couldn't deal with other people sick. Then it was a teacher, but I thought, no, I've no idea why, because I'm not very patient. I've always said that if I was ever made redundant and couldn't get another job, I'd start my own cleaning firm. But it'd be like for really posh houses, those ones that do have cleaners and stuff. Because I'm a bit of I've got a bit of OCD, and I love cleaning. I love making things look really, really neat. Although it don't last very long in my house, probably about an hour. So I think I'd be good at that, but I don't know. I've never had a career in mind. I'm just open to basically do anything. Somebody said that I'd make a good police officer, but I don't think I would.
I think everyone at one point wants to be in the police. Because it's something, I even spoke about it. And when I was in high school, I never wanted to come get into marketing. I'd finished my GCSEs and I wanted to be an artist basically. So I wanted to do art, but something happened with my grades which meant I couldn't do art. So I did business instead. And when I was studying that, I really liked the marketing topics, and I was like, oh, I could do it, because it's
quite creative anyway, isn't it? And if you liked art, then I didn't know you're a good artist.
I've never drawn anything, but I'm all right.
Well, there is a correlation between marketing and art, isn't there? Because
it's a different type of art.
It is, but it's still creative. I'm not very creative at all. I can't even draw a stick man, me. I'm not very good.
I can show you how to draw a good stick man.
Oh, can you? I still won't be able to draw it.
Well, that's about it for this.
That was quite easy then, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's been good.
How long have we done?
Done 45 minutes, which is what I was aiming for.
Oh, that's good.
So
that's good.
That's good. So thank you for joining me on this.
No worries.
How have you actually found it?
I think I didn't really think about it until you came in with equipment. I was like, oh god, I'm gonna have to speak into that. But I think I'm more worried about hearing my own voice. But I suppose I only have to listen to it once, and then everybody will be listening to it.
Well, I've listened to them all, and obviously I don't like hearing my own voice either. But you just sound. That's just how you sound.
I know, but you just don't figure out. You don't realise just how you sound.
Don't you think that you sound different in your own head?
Yeah, absolutely.
Because I'll listen to it and I'm like, do I sound like that?
Yeah, it's weird. It is really weird, but I suppose everybody has that feeling of not liking their own voice, which is why people don't like doing things like this, because it's just putting yourself out there, isn't it? But,
Yeah, it's been good.
Yeah, it has. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you for listening to the Springfield Training Podcast. We'd appreciate if you could like and subscribe to our channel. There's going to be loads of podcasts coming up this year. I'll leave a link to all social channels in the description as well.